Welcome back to day 3. We're going to be making the buzzing ribbon spinner. Tools and supplies that you need are tape, scissors, you need 2 corks, a fat rubber band, an index card, piece of string, a paint paddle with a hole in it, and 3 pieces of newspaper. So we'll get started. There's 3 different portions to this, or 3 different sections of this project, right? The first one is to tie your string, right? Push it through this hole and tie a nice knot right up here. This thing's gonna be spinning pretty fast, so you gotta make sure that your knot is nice and secured. So I'm gonna make a simple knot right there, and then I'm just gonna double it up. Make a second simple knot right there. You can test it, make sure it's nice and solid, and you're done. This is the very first part of this project. Oh. Okay. Once you test it and make sure that it doesn't come off, you come over to this side and you make another knot up here. So you want to make this one a little bit thicker. So the way you do that is you double up the rope or the string, double it up like that, and you make a simple knot right through there. There you go. And you got somewhere to hold on to. That way it doesn't slip through your fingers. And you're done. That's it for the first one. Let me show you what this thing does. So this first part of the project is called the bull roarer. Now we know that the string is a little bit too long for this to work, so we're gonna fold it in half like that, make a little knot up here, and that'll tell you where to hold it from, just like that. So just put all this in your hand, just like this, right? And you hold it like that. Give it about 10 spins while holding the string. All right, just like this, and then you just put it up here and just spin it. It wants to.
As you let go of it?
Yeah. That's good. If at first it doesn't want to work, either give it a little bit more spins, right? Make it a little bit tighter, and let go of it and let it spin. And notice the direction that it goes, right? It comes inside, then it goes outside. And that's not me doing it. There's something going on right here. Right? So think about that. Cool. Okay, so the next part is making the, for this project is to grab your corks. You want to grab your paper and your tape. Alright, so we're going to be hot gluing on these corks. Pull them like that. Flip it over. So these corks are meant to be for weight. That do not have to be perfect. These gotta be very well secured onto this. They're also anchors for the next stuff. So you let it cool down. once it's cooled down, you can put this off to the side and grab 3 pieces of newspaper. Okay, and these are going to be your cushion. So you want to wrap these around this, but you want them to be able to absorb shock. So you got to crumple them up first, so you can lay them down flat and just scrunch them. Just like that. You can prepare your tape. Grab this ball, you put your corks inside of it, and you squish it really close together. You want to compact it. And grab your tape. It goes all the way around. You gotta make sure you tape this paper to your paint paddle, so it doesn't slip off. Okay, let's do the rest of this. Alright, so I'm pretty confident that this will absorb a lot of shock. So I'm not going to add the 3rd piece of paper because I'm going to be way too big. So I am going to start taping this shut and sealed. And again, your tape has to be really tight. That's pretty good right there. Right. You want to make sure it's soft and doesn't hurt when it hits you. Alright. Looks great. The next step is to add a wing. So you want to grab your index card. You can use it like this and glue it on right there. Or you can cut it diagonally. Or you could add a cool design, whatever you want. As long as it's a big wing, right? You don't want a tiny little thing like this, because that might not be able to stabilize this. So you grab it. So you grab it, and you want to glue this on, just like that. You want to make sure that the taller part of the index card is glued onto the body, and the shorter, smaller side is glued onto, facing outwards, just like that. Okay, the next step is to grab your rubber band, stretch it out a little bit. You start up here, and you stretch it all the way to the back. Like that. If there's any twists in your rubber band, like this, you want to make sure to readjust it so it's nice and flat. You want it to be flat on both sides. Check that out. That's ready. Okay, so this thing, once you have it all set up with your rubber band and you have no twists in your rubber band, you want to make sure to check where it's making contact with the ball. You want a nice gradient. You don't want anything obstructing the rubber band from vibrating, because this will vibrate a lot and you want it to vibrate. So if there is something, you can push down on it just like that and even it out. There it is. Cool. Let me show you what this does.
You can do it right there. Maybe move the chair.
Alright, so this time we're using the full length of the string. We're going to around. So there's two different sounds coming from this. Right? You can adjust those sounds. Watch. You can also produce those sounds yourself without having to spin this thing if you stretch out this rubber band. Hear that?
Yeah.
Just like that. Alright, so think about what this is doing. Right, maybe remove it. Right, remove it and see what it does. You can always glue it back on. Right, you can put if you have more rubber bands, you can put more rubber bands. You can do a whole bunch of cool stuff and see how it affects the sound. But the very last step is to attach a piece of ribbon. Alright, so the next step is to attach a piece of ribbon. You need 3 meters. On average, you guys are about 1.5 meters. So if you stand up straight and touch the top of your head and then the top, and you fold it in half and then you go all the way down to the bottom again, you should have about 3 meters, or the length of your arms. Obviously mine are farther apart, but yours are about 1.5 meters. Right, so you can do it once and then twice, right, and then that'll be your 3 meters. And again, you guys will have ribbon. I'm using yarn. Okay, so you grab your 3 meters of ribbon and you want to attach it right on top of the ball where it's not obstructing the rubber bands. And you can tie it on, you can glue it on. So a few ways you can do this. I'm going to tie mine on and then glue it. Like that. And I'm going to cut off all the excess. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to show you what this does. Okay, check that out. Oh, it's twisted.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh? So think about why, when you're spinning this thing straight, but this, your ribbon isn't straight. Your ribbon's kind of, it's arced, right? It's created a circle. Start thinking about why and how that's happening, where the forces are going. Right? We're putting a lot of force on this. We're pushing it. We're centrifugal force, right? It's going outwards. Right. And you got this thing hanging out right here. So have fun with it. Again, add rubber bands, mess around with the wing, see how that affects it. You can also tape this shorter. It's almost like a guitar, right? The shorter it is, the higher the pitch. So you can tape it together like this and see how that affects the sound. Yeah. Should be just like that. But yeah, just have fun with it.